percentage, let me understand a bit of concept first. So if I say like 7 by 25, that fraction means 7 per 25 or 7 out of 25. But if I say 7 by 100, that means it's also a fraction which is 7 per 100. 7 per 100 means 100 is known as century. 100 is known as cent. So 7 per 100 means 7 per cent. So if I want to get percentage values in easier way, I want my base to always be 100. So if I want to calculate 7 by 25 is what percentage, I want the base to be 100. So to make the base to be 100, I multiply this by 4. And parallelly, I multiply 4 with the numerator as well, now which ultimately become 28 by 100, which is easier to say 28%. Okay. So now say the concept, whatever I'll be discussing, is known as multiplying factor. Say, what is this multiplying factor? Like x is a value and you are increasing x by, let's say, 28% only. So when you are increasing x by 28%, the new value would be 128%. So divided by 100 of x, which will ultimately become 1.28x. So that is what I'm talking about. If you increase by 28%, it will be 1.28. The other way around, if you increase by 36%, it will be directly say 1.36x. On the contrary, if I say x has increased by some percentage and become 1.72x, that means it has increased by 72%. So that is what the multiplying factor means. It is easier to calculate that way. Now, suppose x reduced by 20%. So if it is reduction, instead of adding, I'll subtract. It will be 80%, which will be 0.8x. If it is reduced by 40%, it will be 0.6x. Now, let me understand the utility of these in our questions. So, I'm asking you question number 1, where the question is, say, price of oil increased by 20% and then 30%. What is the ultimate price increase? So the basic method says if the price was 100 initially, the increment, rather the first increment is 20%, which will give you 120 as a value. Now, whenever it is increasing by 30%, that 30% will increase not of 100 but of 120. So 30% of 120, both the 0 got cancelled out, 12 threes are coming out to be 36. So I'll be adding 36 here and I'll be getting 120 plus 36 is 156. So the final change it was 100 and ultimately it has become 156. We call it's a change of 56%. What multiplying factor will help you is this way. Say the price was X. For the first increase of 20%, I multiply by 1.2, or 20% will multiply by 1.2. And further, for 30%, I'll multiply by 1.3, which makes it 1.56. So X. So 1.56 means a 56% of increment. Look at the next question. Say the price of oil increased by 20%, it is increased, and then it reduced by 10%. So increment as well as reduction. So to solve this, I'll now use multiplying factor directly. So the price was X. So multiply by 1.2 for the sake of 20%. And then for the reduction of 10%, I multiply by 0.9. 1.2 into 0.9 makes it 1.08x, which will lead to 8% positive change. Try looking at the next question. The side of a square increased by, say, 20%. How much the area will increase now? So, easier method or without multiplying factor will be, if the side was 10, area of a square, I hope you know the area of a square, which is side square, which will be 10 square, makes it 100. It was the usual situation, but the side of the square increased by 20%. So what is 20% of 10? 0, 0 cancel out. It is coming out to be 2. So the new side would be 2. For the area, I'll now rather do 12 square, which is 144. So 100 to 144, it is a 44% change. So now how multiplying factor will help you? Say the side was X, area was X square. Side will become 1.2x because it is increased by 20%. Area will be 1.2x whole square.